Okay, we got some more topics here today. And I was talking about Elio before, and I want to bring this up. This is an analyst. Again, this is from Dark Horizons. There's an analyst says that,
G-Man.
that's right, Garth Franklin. That scared the hell out of me. The poor opening is worrisome. The past weekend saw Pixar's Elio's release in cinemas and subsequently crashed and burned on liftoff. The $150 million budgeted, it's at 150. That's idiocy. That's idiocy.
How much are they usually?
Probably in that range. But if it's like Toy Story or Inside Out or something along those lines, 150 for this movie, someone needs to get, I won't say fired, but someone needs to get their hand spanked pretty hard. Snagged the worst box office opening of any Pixar film to date, taking in just 21 million domestically for its first weekend. It was worse overseas, where it pulled in a dismal 14.9 million. Critics' reviews were good, albeit softly. So for the feature, while the cinema score of A suggests audiences are really liking the movie, Disney no doubt hopes this will pull off an Elemental and stick around in subsequent weeks to become a decent earner by the time it wraps in its theatrical run. Not going to happen, and I'll tell you why when we talk about this. Wall Street analyst Doug Kreutz tells Deadline that the gap between original animation and sequels have grown massively since COVID, and poor starts like this will only fuel the push for more sequels in the future. We expect more movie studios to react to this clear trend by greenlighting fewer original IP animated films. Don't blame film execs, blame the audiences. The issue, of course, is that without new hit properties, the studio cannot grow its IP portfolio. This could be particularly problematic for Disney, which depends on its animated film, parks, consumers, products, flywheel to help drive overall company growth. Kreutz says that the average gross for original animated titles released by Disney and Universal has been 412 million, less than half the 844 million average for the 7 animated sequels released over the same span. In fact, the game would be even wider if it weren't for the 1.36 billion haul of the Super Mario Brothers lifting up the original count. Pixar used to do well with originals, launching Inside Out in 2015 and Coco in 2017 to both acclaim and very healthy box office. However, they've been struggling since the 2020s began. First with Onward opening right as the pandemic hit, and then opening to release Soul, Luca, and Turning Red direct to Disney Plus to boost subscriber counts. After that, Pixar tried going back to theatrical with limited success. First with Lightyear, which ended bombing badly, grossing a total of just 226.4 million of a 200 million budget, and Elemental, which started slow, ended up okay with 496 off of a $200 million budget. Inside Out 2 last year was a massive success for them, taking a 1.7 billion. Thus, it comes as a little surprise that Pixar has opted to move forward with Toy Story 5, Incredibles 3, Coco 2 in the next few years. It still has 2 more originals on the way, Hoppers early next year and Gato in summer 2027. And there's understandable concern people aren't going to rush out to see those. Talk comes as Pete Docter said last week at a Fast Company Summit in New York that originals are essential to this company. We have to find out what people want before they know it, because if we just gave them more they want, they'd be making Toy Story 27. Did you see this movie?
No.
Right.
And not only did I not see it, I hadn't heard of it until a month ago.
Well, it only came out a month ago.
I know.
You're seeing right as it was coming out.
As it was coming out, I said, "What is this?"
Yeah, it wasn't marketed very well. And I think I'm one of the only people who chose to see that movie instead of F1 that night. I could have seen F1, but I wanted to see it because I wanted to see if it was any good. I like Pixar movies and seeing if it was going to be a hit. And as I was telling you before, it needed to be great. That's the other thing. It's a good movie. It's a charming movie. It's a nice thing that I would watch with my 7-year-old, but it's not a movie that I'd say you got to go see this. Any other reason? They said, well, hopefully. And I said, I don't think this is going to happen with the Elemental thing, right? You're the research lady. See what Elemental was up against at that time in the theater. And I bet you nothing too substantial. Could be wrong, but it wasn't going up against Lilo and Stitch in its 5th week or whatever it was. It's or third or fourth week at the time it came out. It's not going up against How to Train Your Dragon and other movies that are coming out. It's stuck right in the middle of summer. It was that movie Elemental came out, I think, during
June 16th, 2023, up against June 16th was also The Flash.
Right. Different audience.
And before that, I mean, for the month, The Boogeyman came out, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Okay. But Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was 5 weeks away from it.
Right. and that's the same company. So it had no competition at all for in the kids space. So it had time to build. It is so important to be able to say, especially at that time in 2023, when you can go and you can take.
Asteroid City. Yeah, there was nothing around it.
First movie that I think that my wife took the kids to see. I love True Classic. That's how I'm going to start this. I have fallen in love with them. I have so many new things, whether it comes to t-shirts, whether it is sweatpants, things I go to the gym for. I love it. I absolutely love them. At True Classic, the mission goes beyond fit and fabric. It's about helping guys show up with confidence and purpose. The gear fits right, it feels amazing, and it's priced so guys everywhere can step into confidence without stepping out of their budget. What really sets them apart, it's not just about the fit or the fabric, it's the intention behind everything that they do. True Classic was built to make an impact, whether it's helping men show up better in their daily lives, giving back to undeserved communities, or making people laugh with ads that don't take themselves too serious. They lead with purpose. So I have been loving True Classic. I got them. I've got a bunch of things that, again, like I said, shirts, pants, and I told my wife the other day, I said, I don't know if I want to go anywhere else right now. True Classic. I mean, I'm telling you, I went out to go out with some friends. I was wearing this True Classic t-shirt. They fit really nice. They just they're comfortable. It's good material. I love it. And you don't have to worry about it. Just get rid of the overpriced designer brands. Ditch the disposable fast fashion. True Classic is built for comfort. It's built to last, and it's built to give back. You can grab them anywhere, Target, Costco. You can head to trueclassic.com/Christian. That's where you really should go, and get hooked up today. You will love it. I have been swearing by it. I'm telling you, this is me telling you straight up. I love this brand. I love True Classic. In the theater together, there's that one, because there was nothing else to see. So I want to go back to the movies. I want to go check something out. What do I see? People aren't going to do that with Elio.
Elemental was also an amazing movie.
It was a really good movie. I like that movie a lot.
Amazing. And it had a lot of Inside Out vibes. So I feel like it borrowed from the things that were already working. I didn't realize until this article what rough shape Pixar originals are in. And looking at that, I was like, ooh, yeah, that makes sense. The only Pixar movie I've never seen is Onward. I hear it's good, and I want to see it.
I like that
but the other ones that it references, Soul, Luca, Turning Red, I saw all those. And they were all good.
But not enough. Again, two things. Well, first, it's the same thing we just talked about before, Rox. It needs to be great. If you want to start, you got to do a second one. That's part one.
I think a lot of people think Soul was great, but it's a completely different release structure because of
COVID and everything. But the other thing that, and this is blue in the face stuff here, what are you doing spending $150 to $200 million on an original? I use and I know that animation is expensive to make.
They all are. So I did check that. None of them, they're all 150, 175, 200.
Not anymore. Not on my watch.
No, I'm not saying that they should be. I'm just saying.
I know. And I'm saying that not anymore. Not on my watch. Find a way to do it cheaper, because I use Deadpool as an example. Deadpool 1, different movies, not animated, but very cheap to make the first one. And it made a lot of money. And that's why if Deadpool 1 would have cost, it still made a ton of money anyway, probably still like a sequel with a $200 million budget. It would have looked very different though. So who knows? But you got to make a profit first in order to get a second one. Even if you do, there's some movies that cost less, do okay, but people really responded to it. There's a fan base for it. Didn't cost us that much. Still made a little bit of money. Let's make a second one. And then the second one does really well. So and if you're not making great stuff, because they said, well, I was surprised Lightyear didn't do well. Lightyear's I didn't mind it, but my 7-year-old, she was like 5 or something when she saw it, lost. It was like, you've got to aim that towards everyone. And they didn't. They did not. And it was like, it was too expensive. It was all over the place. The movie was so Kate told me that her kids didn't know what the hell was going on at the end, and they didn't care about it. And you should have done, they should have done something off of actual Lightyear. You're going to spin it off.
Question for you. Okay. So people always say this, budget too high. So let's slash the budget for a second.
Yeah, sure.
we're not going to slash the animators budget,
Right.
obviously.
Where do you slice
So
it?
do
Yeah.
you cut the actors? Do you think that there is no need anymore? Like for Soul, for example, that was Tina Fey and Jamie Foxx.
Right.
That's where a huge percentage of the budget probably went. Um, all of Pixar movies tend to have pretty big cast. For Elio, we had Zoe Saldana, we had Brad Garrett, we had
Right.
Jamila Jamil, we had a lot of voice actors as well, but some huge people. Do you think it matters?
It's such a hard question, but it's a great question. I think the answer is yes, sometimes, no other times, which is a lame answer, but I just think that it's there are times you're like, we don't need that person. And then I'm like, I don't know if I want to see Inside Out without Amy Poehler. However, they were missing some key members of Inside Out 2 there that didn't come back for the sequel. Didn't make much of a difference. Movie still made, $1 billion. So
And are you only missing Amy Poehler because it was Amy Poehler? And if it hadn't been Amy Poehler,
would it still, if there was another unknown cheaper actress that would have done, an amazing performance, albeit a different performance than Amy Poehler, and still did it, would would have been cheaper? And yeah, of course. There's so many talented voice actors there that you can give a shot. You don't need it to be a celebrity, but that's
and the movie has done as well. Would the box office have done as well for Inside Out?
It's a great question. It's
I
a great
don't know.
question. One of the reasons I say no is because marketing counts, for these movies too. And when you're getting Amy Poehler on Jimmy Fallon and these other things, or doing these viral bits that go out there because it's Amy Poehler and whatever, it helps. It helps get noticed to it for sure. So there's a reason why they do it. But maybe it's one big star. I don't know. I don't know the answer to it, to be honest with you. I really don't know. I don't know what the
Well, it starts with picking stories that maybe don't cost that much to animate because they're less locations, less visually out there, whatever it is. But I am just curious because I agree with you. How are you going to make an original movie for $175 million that is just going to bomb after you've done that 4 times?
Right. There's just so much of a risk now. There's just so much of a risk that you're like, I don't know. I like you that's why I understand why they're greenlighting all the sequels and everything too. And that article is correct, by the way, too. And it's like, and I say this all of the time, but one of the things I cannot stand the most is like, no more sequels, no more remakes. They never make original stuff in Hollywood. They make original stuff in Hollywood all of the time. There's a different conversation when it's like, no more sequels, no more. Let the studios put that big money into original stuff, is essentially what the audience is saying, and when they say that. But as Dark Horizon says in that article,
blame the audience, not the studio.
Proof is in the pudding.
Right.
The proof is in the pudding that you are not going to see the big budget original stuff. You're watching the other stuff on Netflix, you're watching it on Amazon, you're watching all this stuff. You ain't watching it in the movies. When it comes out and it tries, they're bombing for the most part.
Did you see Materialist?
No, did you see it?
Yeah, I went and saw it this weekend.
All right, so don't tell me yet, because this movie is so interesting to me, because every time I hear about it, I hear a different take from people.
I know.
People who love it.
That's why I went to see it, Kristian, because half the people were telling me this is one of the best rom-coms of the decade, and half the people were saying it's absolutely atrocious. You're going to hate it.
Right. Chris Carr said this is not a romantic comedy. I don't know why people are calling it a romantic comedy. What did you think of the movie?
Chris Carr said what?
She said it's not a romantic comedy. I don't understand why people are calling it that. You think it is?
I mean, I guess I would call this a romantic dramedy, but
okay.
If somebody called it a romantic comedy, I certainly would not correct them.
Okay.
But I think it's a dramedy, Okay.
And did you like it?
I thought it was unbelievable.
Okay.
I loved this movie.
Okay.
And I actually think you're going to like it too. And I won't give anything away, but the thing that is upsetting people is the ending.
Okay.
And I loved the ending. And I think it's very odd that we're at a place in life that people really didn't like that.
Interesting. I want to see the ending.
Oh, Kristian, I loved this movie. But the point that I was going to make is that this movie had a $25 million budget. And because of that, it's going to end up
being a big
doing okay.
Right.
And it's not crazy performing right now, but it's going to make its money back, and then a little bit is what it seems.
Yeah, you're right.
If it had a $75 million budget, it would have been effed. So, like, movies really need to reassess what are they capable of making, and then you need to make your budget less than half of that.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you.
It's math now at this point.
It is. Facts by Roxy Strayer. What do you guys think? Put your thoughts in there. Let us know.